they are, holding on because it is the life of the community. But by doing so, they're also holding themselves back from financial independence by not being a little bit more risky and and maybe risk isn't even the right, more aggressive in the space because risk isn't the right thing because when you're certain things that men tend to do more than women are what's making them stand ahead and get ahead with some of those financial decisions. So we gotta remember, we gotta sort of bring these education into some of these women's groups and really teach women how to be financially independent within the space. And some of that's being missed, and we gotta start getting that utility out there. And like I said, it's kind of a big deal when you meet people that are founders of very well-known women projects that say, "I've never sold an NFT."
And then there's like the flip shaming, which I've coined, so don't even try to use that. To like said by Brooke J. Lacey. I think a lot of times, so we have to remember this is all from crypto, and cryptocurrency is there because of blockchain. So it became this vehicle, this way of exchanging value on the blockchain, but then it also became an investment vehicle. And we all go, "Ooh, I'm not financial advice," but really it is. Like let's I can say what it is. Like these are investment vehicles. We just can't say. And I've talked to my attorney about this a lot. Like, can't I just say that this is going to make me money? I don't understand. He's like, "Yeah, you're not promising something." Yeah. So not financial advice, but there's a way to. I know with crypto, and a lot of times with what I would tell people like on TikTok and educating women about financial security is utilize things like this because wealthy people invest. We've all heard that, right? Like, there's a lot of wealthy people in here. Wealthy people invest their money; they don't necessarily spend it. And so, this is a way. It is a more risky way to invest your money, and obviously having to turn it into to cryptocurrency and then buy these JPEGs, which just sounds ridiculous. Have
I talked to you about utility
Yeah,
yet?
exactly. We're gonna start a drinking game that going from here. Anytime you say utility, you take a shot. Wait till after. Right. I got the bottle down here, but yeah. I live in Boise, Idaho, and I was at the airport, and I'm on the phone with one of my dads, and we're talking and stuff, and I'm like, and then the goblins, and then then we had to go through the Board 8 thing. People are like, what the
talking about?
What is she talking about? It's totally normal for us to be saying these words, but we're buying things that just are so incredibly ridiculous, but yet we're doing that to better our lives. And I do have a 17-year-old I am completely financially responsible for, and I'm teaching him about all of these things, and he also thinks we're all crazy. He's like, "You guys keep talking about the metaverse. Mom, we've been in the metaverse for a long time. I just watched a movie with a bunch of friends on my Oculus." So yes. I digress, yes. But it's we'll talk about that later. I think that's the really important thing, that if the utility, and I'd like to know what you all think, but if the utility is truly making money, why is that bad? I personally do not think that's bad. I want to build wealth. I have always built wealth. I have always been in a situation as a technologist where I've never had to worry about my next meal. As a woman, as somebody who I've been a single mom since since he was born, and I took care of everything. I've owned the businesses. I've done all of that, and I want other women to understand that. So when they hold on to their NFTs, I'm like, oh, really? Like, you see it tinking.
You're holding on to your life.
Have the money there to take care of yourself. So, Corey, what do you think? If the utility is money,
it's not a bad thing. It's the love of money that's the root of all. Yeah, not money. Not money itself. It's what you're doing with what you're. It's all about intention. Setting intention. What are you doing? What are your intentions? How are you going to make the world a better place? And that's a question we have to continue to ask ourselves. Or we're just repeating history. In his book, Audacity of Hope, Obama said, I want to get this, it's paraphrased.
Let's go.
He said, I wonder if human beings will ever, reach the point where we're not just going from boom to bust, from war to peace, that we're really on an upward trajectory thinking about, you know, how we actually are going to change the world. Are we doomed to just keep repeating history? And again, we have the way.
So building out a utopia. Or
I
striving
say,
towards, not actually building out, but striving towards utopia.
I say oasis.
Oasis?
Doesn't have to be a utopia, but at least we can create a space in which all of the democracy and its ideals actually
Work?
We're losing volume, FOMO head.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I love the word that you used a little bit earlier, ownership. It all comes down to that. And in this world where we don't have ownership of almost anything.
Subscription-based life.
There you go.
This is a subscription-based life. Yeah. And the tech, though. What about the tech? Like, we're just looking at NFTs. You know, is utility a bad thing if it makes you money? Okay, no, it's not. It's not. But then we look at, like you were just saying, I'm telling you to get rid of this NFT, it's tanking, and you're not, right? Because of the utility. Or could it be that we have the opportunity to actually invest in the developers, in their companies, and their ability to build the NFT, to build it so that you yourself don't have to take that risk, but you know that the NFT is founded by solid code that you have invested. It's just, I think it's a perspective thing. It doesn't have to be an NFT. And the barrier to entry doesn't have to be so high. Even if you're investing in tech, you can actually create an NFT to invest in the tech and give them a return on them investing in the tech. Now the NFT is really valuable because the tech is continuing to progress.
Inception of blockchain, too.
Exactly.
Meta.
We're just, yeah.
I think, you know, when you look at this, you look at it from a really different perspective. I think that, you know, where you can go with it, what you can do with it, what you're talking about, making the world sort of a better place. I mean, and that's the value of looking at this almost long term. It's the ripple effects that the wealth here can create for other things and help other people. So if you're in a position where you feel financially solid, you can help other people. I'm not a big utopia, you know, I'm a capitalist, but I think that I'm a capitalist in a way that, you know, it's kind of like boring to be the only guy around with all the money, everybody broke, right? So I think it's really important to have that ripple effect, how, you know, go to help other people and to get other people and to create an environment where people just are comfortable making those decisions. I mean, it's about education.
It's kind of where it's going,
Yeah.
because, you know, it used to be, you know, the founders are the only ones making all the money in Web3. And it's now evolving to what the idea is that, you know, your founders are trying to make a place for all of their community to make money. So it's nice that we are starting to get to that a little bit better.
I wanted to say, people who heard me on Twitter Spaces, you know, you guys think you can make money flipping JPEGs? Let me tell you how much we charge for auditing a smart contract.
Facts.
A shitload.
Facts.
A shitload of money. And so I use that word twice because people forget this is not just about flipping JPEGs. This is not just about collecting things. Maybe the case is maybe these people already have something going on where it's like, yeah, I'm cool with just like buying $100,000 printing JPEG. Cool, cool for you. Like, well done you.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested in getting devs paid. They don't charge enough for their services, so I'm going to be their dev. I knew I was going to say that on stage at some point, right? I knew it. You're not filming. No, that's all right. I say it a lot. But remember that there's money to be made in the tech, and that's what's driving all of this. So if you don't understand the tech, or don't want to be involved in that at all, just understand that that's the foundation, and none of the stuff that you can even do here that we're talking about is possible without that.
And people think it's so, like you're saying, people think it's so easily done. And I was in a space where someone was like, bro, all you gotta do is just open an OpenSea account, get your MetaMask, and then you just do it from there. I'm like, bro, what about the smart
That's
contract?
exactly
Yeah,
how they're doing it.
Yeah,
Like that's exactly how
and
they
it's like, no, it's not that simple. Stop telling people it's that simple.
Smart contract where they think it's like a document where a lawyer writes.
Yes, the contract. So, whose attorney is involved in writing the smart contract? What are you talking about? So, but these, and I'm not saying this to someone who's trying to learn and they're just asking. I'm saying this to people who think that they're telling you what's happening.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful. This is the wild, wild west. remember the Great Frontier, you watch Tombstone and all of the Wyatt Earp movies, where they get out there and you have to fend for yourself. You can't trust everybody. Let's just keep it, and so education is very important. This is why, my brother's here, Kasha Phillips, is opening a Web3 school in Dallas where you're taught everything about Web3, about building a community, about mining, about everything, because we are tired of our friends coming to us saying, hey, bro, you know such and such? Yeah. Hey, well, I just paid him $1,500 to teach me about NFTs, and I haven't heard from him. That's a horrible feeling because this is my life. Web3, blockchain, Web3 to us is just an evolution. Let's just keep it that, But blockchain, all of this, being a degen is my life. So when someone says that someone else who's claiming my life is lying to them, I take that personally. So that's why we're all up here educating. That's why the TikTok has 5 billion followers. 5 billion.
500,000 to 5 billion.
It's 5 billion. That's all we're saying. Excuse me, I'm trying to give you your flowers. But I'm serious. This is why it's important. So thank you all. Seriously.
We have 11 minutes, or this guy right here is gonna.
Yeah, he looks a little frustrated.
Remember those kids on the
I mean, should we even pick some utility that we like maybe?
Yeah, I was gonna say. why don't
Maybe
go
we should end with
do it?
what utilities do you call money?
Money, I'm good.
Besides money.
Okay, fine. I'll start with you, Vince. You go ahead.
One of the reasons I'm here is a utility that I've been able to work in this, work out in this community. It's a lot to go over in less than 10 minutes. So what we've been able to do from an education perspective in our community, the social bees, what we've been able to do in a way to really get an educated community really working and engaged. So they're actually working to improve the value of the NFT and of the associated assets with their NFT and growing that so they can do that. So the utility we're seeing is a long-term utility that's really about growing the community, and the better and stronger that community grows, the better your financial outcome will be. And so that is the kind of utility that I'm bought into. I'm a little bit older than the average degen, so I'm thinking a little bit long-term, but I think that it's something that we have to do, and that's the utility that I see. So, I'm pretty much single-threading at this point what I'm doing and trying to make this thing better, but that's really the utility that I'm seeing.
You're talking about these.
Absolutely.
We love you.
Yeah. Again, I'm the large picture person. And you mentioned something about access. We're still living in a country where there's a digital divide. In 2020 people, there are still communities that don't have access to what we take for granted, basic internet services. There's still a whole community or a whole world out there that we're not, mass adoption is still an idea or something that seems like pretty far away, but closer than many of us think it is. How are we making people aware? What if that was the utility? What if what you're doing with the brothers doing in Dallas with the school and other folks that I know, Naja Roberts, who's also building brick and mortar spaces in urban communities where people can learn about this and have no idea it even exists. Again, the way is there to.
So you're not talking about third world countries where this
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm talking about right.
I'm just saying.
So, again, to me, the best utility is going to be utility that actually creates viable, real change.
Yeah, 8 minutes.
I know.
Make sure you
I'll
leave
be
time for me.
So, I'm a fan of Tom Bilyeu and his Impact Theory projects. And the reason why I'm a fan is not only is it his community that he has built, but it's very similar to Social Beast, where it is continuously trying to teach people more things, and also giving you the ability to. His new project, Project Kaizen, that's coming out, is one of the ones where you get to, if you want to be a developer and you want to go down that path, there are people that can assist you. You can do that, and you can learn to do that. But it's kind of reminds me of like some of the alternative schools where it's not necessarily go to your standardized, but you get to like, hey, I'm interested in artwork, and then they will help you pair you up with like some digital artists, and you get to learn like the basis behind it. And then programmers, like helping programmers, and you get involved in how do you do this blockchain. So his is very interesting what he's doing. One of the things he said at a conference conference recently. He said, community is huge because without the community, all of these things that the founder wants to do and wants to help you, it doesn't go anywhere. You need a strong community. So I think that's a huge utility. And that's not a financial utility, but the learning part is the financial side of it. But he said, listen, I have this community, and if I were one day to go away, you guys would all have each other. But if I'm running this project and you all left me, I would have nothing. And that is very true. And so community is huge, but it's just kind of something that they're doing. And the whole point of why I like that project is just, and I like every project that's similar to that, it continuously evolves. It's trying to make people better. And they do it at an entry point where someone who's not rich can get in.
Yeah.
But if you are a whale, there's opportunities for you as well. So you gotta look for those projects that hit all those points. And I think then you're gonna start finding the utility that speaks to you, that fits that community, the learning, financials, etc.
Indeed, I would say this basically encompasses what everyone has said. Utility is support. Like if you're calling in for an order of some equipment that you need before you go on a trip somewhere, you need that equipment for that trip, you don't want to speak to the chat person. You want to speak to someone on the phone. And if you can pull up to the brick and mortar location, you want to be there to be assisted through your issue personally. You want to know that someone cares about you. And so when we talk about utility, money, it makes people care about you. Seriously, they say money and power make people care about you. Money, power, and information. And if you money, power, and information. And if you think about this entire movement, money, power, information. And so it has gotten very cliche. It's wag me. We all gonna make it. But you got little projects being pushed out of conferences because they don't have enough money. As the big projects, who the whole point of the little projects is so that this doesn't happen. How can you say wag me in this construct like that? So community is knowing, the utility is knowing that the people who are in your community are willing to bat for you. You can say anything you want about gangs in America, but the reason why those people get into those communities, they're still communities, is because they have protection. Even if the protection is destructive, we're just striving to give each other protection that is progressive. And that's what I want you to think about. Whenever you read a project and you look to the FAQs, like, what's the utility of this project? All right, cool. How is this going to make me a part of a bigger organization? And if we're quoting people, Daniel Pink, Motivation 3.0, this is how I remember it. Web 3, it's really Web 3.0. He has a theory called Motivation 3.0, and he says that there are 3 things that you need to give a person in order to properly motivate them. We're used to the construct of Motivation 2.0, where you threaten them with a consequence, and then if you do good, you get a golden ticket or whatever. But the real things that we need, and Web3 has proven this, are mastery, autonomy, and purpose. Well, we know autonomy with the DAO, right? That's proven. Mastery. As you go down these rabbit holes, each of you who've been down a rabbit hole in NFTs, blockchain, raise your hand. How did it feel when you learned this stuff? It felt massive. It felt awesome. When you're learning Java or whatever, I don't know, how does it feel when you execute your first function? Oh my goodness, it's like, yo, I can't believe I just did that. I've been working this hard for it. So you got mastery, you have autonomy, and then you have purpose. What's the purpose? Can a bee stand up and tell me the purpose of the social bees? Henry, what's the purpose of the social bees?
We only have 3 minutes.
Just tell me in 30 seconds. Tell me in 30 seconds.
To help everyone buzz and go.
Okay, so help everybody buzz and go. So that's what I say about utility. Help everybody buzz and go. Help everybody progress and advance their lives, no matter what their color is.
Do you ever show up somewhere and you just like don't know what to expect? And I've known these 3 people from last year. Oh wait, no, February. I love that we have met, Lynn, because you are my people, and I'm so blessed to show up somewhere and be able to meet you. In real life is everything. I don't care what people say. Like in real life, being with everyone physically is everything. So I love you. This is the best panel, and I'm on other panels. So this was
this panel is great.
Oh no, this one.
No, everybody said you, Vince, not you.
I have a question though. Do you think that like people who are whales call themselves whales? Do you think they like being called whales? This is just rhetorical. I would like to
That's
know.
the
Eventually.
that's the
Somebody
thought
come up
they
to me
do.
later, like, that is a whale, and be like, yes, I do love
It's called the
Make
whale.
my license plate says whale.
Yeah, TikTok series going on Hot Whales.
The whale tax. The whale tax.
It's so crazy on TikTok. Although I remember I went back because I'm like, what was the first TikTok I did? I talked about crypto kitties in January last year, so I was early. Okay, I was early. I was first. People thought I was insane. I mean, they already do.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
kind of,
like really no big transition. That 2 minutes. I think this has been one of the best discussions that I have ever had about this. We didn't say utility too much. In all seriousness, I think so many people just start saying buzzwords. This isn't inviting, this is across the board. You just start saying buzzwords and it just glazes over. And I know that from trying to educate about blockchain and crypto and all of that, people just glaze over or whatever they think, it impedes what I'm trying to teach them. Oh, crypto's for criminals. Well, so is fiat. Like, so is faith. It's not though. It's just not. So it's an incredible way. We just have to keep powering through and talking about all of these things. And when the utility is helping people buzz through, how you said that, that's when we're gonna really win. I would probably never say that. I mean, I just did, but we're gonna win. Like we're gonna win, even if you fail and get back up and keep going. You're still winning. So thank you, everyone. I'm gonna plug a little bit right before lunch. I'm gonna do 20 minutes talking to some of my favorite girl devs that are fairly nervous. I see you're like, I'll probably do all the talking because but we want to give you a little bit of like insight into the world of being a girl dev. And we're gonna make you wait for going to get lunch. So that's right after the next panel. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Hold on, everyone stand up. Brooke J. Lacey and her panel, let's make a big round of applause. Come on now. Thank you all so much. Awesome job. What y'all think about that?
Yeah.
You learned something?
Yeah. Hit my dev.
We got another panel coming up, then we're gonna break for lunch. So right now I want to introduce Cynthia Overton to the stage. Thank you, Cynthia. I'm going to give you this one.
Cynthia doesn't give me love. Who was at NFTconnect Arizona? Raise your hand. It's so good to be back with everybody. And let me ask you this. If you are not at NFTconnect Arizona, can you raise your hands, please? If you are not in Arizona. So everybody who was in Arizona, I want you to take a look at everybody who had their hand up. It's really important that you talk to them, you welcome them to the community, because we are in this for the long haul. We got to build some relationships now, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right, so I'm really excited about this panel. Powerful women in Web3. Where are my panelists? Oh, they're over there. So it's really interesting, you all, because we've gotten a really great group of women together. We've got computer scientists, data scientists. We're throwing in some social science. We're throwing in support and help for women. We're also throwing in a lot of fun. And before I bring them up, I do want to just give a quick shout out to the organizers, because it's very important to them that they highlight people who traditionally are not highlighted in the Web3 space. A whole panel dedicated to women in Web3, a very diverse panel. We did that in Arizona, and it was really important that they use their platform again in Austin. So shout out to the organizers who are actually doing and living inclusion and not just talking about it. Okay? All right, so without further ado, let me bring up our panel. We have Victoria Fuller, we have Lori Tubman, we have Sonia Abuja, we have Jasmine Branson, and we have, is Christine here? Is Christine here? All right, so I think that we're gonna hear from Christine later on today, so. I'm gonna sit on the edge here. And we can get started. All right, everybody have a mic? Everybody ready to go?
You have tissues?
Oh, Lordy me. Was that Will? Was that Will T? Oh, Lord. All right, so is everybody settled? Okay, awesome. All right, so we're gonna start off just really getting to know these women. And there are two things that I want to accomplish today. I want us to get to know these women and what they're doing in this space. And then I also want to get their insight in terms of how we can all empower other women to get into Web3, because, you know, we all have mothers, daughters, nieces, cousins, loved ones, friends that we want to bring along for the ride with us. So why don't we start? Oh, I would like to start with this question. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jasmine Brunson. I'm a data scientist and DJ from Prince George's County, Maryland. I currently live here in Austin, Texas. You know, I put myself into the cryptocurrency community here, and I'm so excited. I'm also a founder of Cena Labs AI, where we're building a risk advisory platform for all of Web3, not just DeFi, not just NFTs, not just blockchain-based cryptocurrencies, the whole onslaught.
Great. And tell us a little bit about your origin story. So you're a data scientist. How did you get into this space? How did you know that you could even do this?
I would say I was coding since I was 16. I just had a penchant for it. I remember it was I was in English class. One of my friends, he was talking about there's this class you can take to learn how to play video games and create video games. I'm like, I need to take that class. And it was computer science. And then after that, I took AP computer science. And then after that, I was like, I need to study this. So in my collegiate career, I have one degree in computer science, associate's degree in computer science, and my other degree is information science for my bachelor's, specialization in data science. So I just had the reason why I made that pivot is because I knew the world was moving into the ways of how we're going to monetize data. And a lot of businesses are trying to figure out ways of how do we actually use this data to create better customer relationships? How do we use this data to, you know, analyze, certain things about our consumers? And unfortunately, a lot of it has been like detrimental, taking in a lot of consumer data and trying to figure out, hey, what's the liability of this person buying this product at this stage of their life? We have to be very privy to ethical and responsible AI as we build these technologies out. So that's what I'm a big proponent for.
Yeah, ethical and responsible AI is so important when you think about these algorithms that are oftentimes used to scale injustices against people. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that. I hope you'll speak about that a little bit more. Want to get to our good friend Lori. Lori, can you just introduce yourself very quickly and tell us what you do in the Web3 space and how you came into it?
Good morning.
Good morning. GMGM.
It says it's on. Okay. Good morning. My name is Lori. I am part of the Wings of Wisdom.
Oh, she is the founder of the Wings of Wisdom, people. She's so wise.
The Wings of Wisdom is a women-led project, and we are under the umbrella of the Social Bees. And I am a huge Social Bees fan. We are super excited. If you don't know who the bees are, you need to know who we are. We truly care about people. And as the Wings of Wisdom, when I came back from Phoenix, I wanted to round up the women that I met there and just bring them together and let's see what we can do to help hurting women. Not just in our reach, but really reach out across the world to all women. Because all women either know a woman or are that woman
pain, that's hurting, that's experienced something that is just unbearable. I was that woman years ago, and I really want to just reach out and touch someone.
And it's really tough. And that's good. Clap for that. Because women face so many challenges in society that are actually set up by society, set up by unfair laws and practices that have really served to marginalize. So it's really important that we acknowledge that, and it's really important that we do what we can to dismantle these systems and show support for our sisters who need it. So I think that you're doing incredible work, Lori, and I thank you for your leadership. Woo. All right. Next up, we have Victoria. Victoria, tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is Victoria Fuller, and I'm the founder of Gatefold Labs, and I have a project under Gatefold Labs coming out called Road Bunnies. And I'm also a graphic design artist, an artist, professional artist on canvas for over 20 years. So I've kind of merged all of my skills into this project, and it's basically 100 Playboy centerfolds who have decided to take control of the intellectual property and go rogue and create our own brand separate and apart from Playboy so that we can continue to monetize our celebrity. And we have no way to engage with our fans, I hate calling them fans, but our followers, I would say, other than social media, which is really impersonal. So we're creating Mansion 2.0 in the metaverse, and this is not as helpful as a lot of the projects, but it is fun. And the girls and the playmates the bunnies are able to re-engage with fans and create new ones. And we're gonna continue the party at the mansion in the metaverse.
Awesome. You know, as a celebrity, how did you even know that this NFT community and exploring in Web3, how did you even know that this was possible? I mean, you were doing something, I know that you're an artist also,
Yeah.
but you were still doing something very different.
Well, I'm an artist. I mean, I still do art. So I've made a living off it forever. But I was introduced to NFTs in 2017 from a fellow artist, and he's like, "You got to meet me at the mall. There's this new art medium, and you just meet me." And I met him, and he showed me crypto kitties, and I was like, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen." And I left. I just left. I left. And then I thought, every time I think something's the dumbest thing, it ends up being the greatest thing. So I called him and I said, "Can we meet again and talk about it?" And he said yes. So we met every 3 months for like 2 years, and he introduced me to crypto, everything. I got all my wallets. I invested in Ethereum and Bitcoin really early on. And then in January of 2021, Elon Musk's girlfriend made $7 million in 5 minutes. I heard on the news, and I thought, what the F? And so I thought, okay, I think it's time for me to take a deeper dive into getting serious about this, because after COVID, there's no galleries. After COVID, I mean, everybody knows there's so many limitations. And a lot of my playmate sisters, who are a huge sorority, of course, were suffering. Their mommies are entrepreneurs and were suffering. And I thought, I created solo art career in the NFT world, which I was gearing towards, but I found it very I didn't think it was that great. I didn't think it was that fulfilling, honestly. And I still have my own art anyways. And so I thought, and I did an NFT drop with Playboy, and then I wasn't amused with the way they paid me, not paid me, and treated me. And as a playmate for over 20 years, I thought they would value me a lot more, and they did not. And I thought, I'm going to get my girls together, and I'm going to create something for us to create not only a secondary income, but put the band back together and get us together so that we can, engage with our community directly. So it's been really rewarding just getting the girls all together again since Hugh Hefner died and the mansion no longer exists. Then we just didn't have a hub anymore to do anything. And, you direct message someone on Instagram, one of the playmates on Instagram as a fan, you're never going to get through, right? I mean, she's probably not going to respond, she's got whatever. So this has been really great because not only am I back with the girls and we're all, interlocked again in our lives, but we have a focus and a direction, and it's a good 2-year plan, all the things that we have going on, so we're all very excited.
That's a very interesting story. And one of the things that I just wanted to point out that stood out to me is she talked about learning and going back and studying and getting with a tutor and just investing a lot of hard work. And a lot of times people are really thinking, oh, instant, you're this and you can just do things very quickly. But I just really commend you just in terms of the work and the dedication that you put in, because I know that it has not been easy.
It's been really hard, and it's been well over a year of putting this together. And I hear people say projects, oh, we just got this going like 60 days ago, and I roll my eyes. I'm like, it takes a lot more than people realize. You really just can't slap stuff together anymore. But you can't slap stuff together anymore in this community. People are aware.
All right, thank you for that, Victoria. Last but not least, we have Song. Song is my sister from another mister, okay? Sonia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Sonia, and I am proud B too. So I would like to talk a little bit about the origin story. I think a few folks in the room, you already know me. I'm Sonia, founder of Orbis 86, if you can read it. And Orbis 86 is it's a community, it's a project that is dedicated to storytelling, a project that brings together stories from different people, and these stories we hope will inspire people to become better humans, inspire people to help each other out, and stories that will immortalize these small moments in life, right, that happen in all of our lives. And here, for example, right now, we have 3 powerful stories being shared. And then, how do these stories live on forever? And with Orbis 86, that is one thing that we want to do. We take these moments, these stories, and give them place where they don't just get to live on the blockchain forever, but also get immortalized in animations. I don't generally talk about my background, but I thought that, it might be a good time for me to start talking about my origin. So, this is back in 2003 to 7, right? I purely took up a degree in engineering, because the biggest thing on my mind was, I'm a single parent child. My mom is getting scholarships to pay my tuition, which at that time was $300. We couldn't even afford $300 for an entire year's worth of tuition, accommodation, hostel stay. This is in India. The thing that I had at the center of my mind was, hey, I need to go and get a degree in engineering so I can get a decent job and then support my mom. How many of us have been in that situation where your priorities are driven by things that are more urgent, right? Things like, hey, how do I put food in front of my family? At that time, a few years later, I came to States in 2012, right? So in 2007, I was still looking at scholarships, right, to fund the $400 a year. In 2012, I was in States earning $85,000 a year for my first job. So, but after I came here, I looked at the stories of like Mark Zuckerberg and all the other kids. Obviously, they're dropouts, but they were doing something completely different and being the first to build something out because they had access to those opportunities. Web3 is at that pinnacle right now, right? Where it really is an area, a realm where we can onboard so many people. All of us in this room are still very early in the space. And for me, the biggest motivation is, how do we get more people, bring them in, and give them those opportunities to turn their lives around? And every person in this room is going to be one of the pilots for shepherding that ship that is going to bring a lot more people into this realm of Web3, where it's not just about making more money, but it's about being fairly compensated, right, for the work that you're doing, being humble, right, and yet thinking about not just how you progress, but how you bring other women and other disadvantaged communities with you and not being used to single them out. And that is what the promise of Web3 is.
For a moment, thinking about your own journeys in Web3, I'd love for you to talk about the impact on yourselves personally and then the impact on other people. Jasmine, you want to start with that? The impact that you're making, the impact that you hope to make on yourself and on others.
For sure. One of the first things I did, I would say was my junior year of college. I was working at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center back home, and I was like, I need to start something where I can educate people about crypto. So I started my first LLC, Blockchain Culture. And the premise behind it was to educate Black and Brown communities about this technology, because time and time again, we have been, excluded out of certain opportunities to build capital, to have a home ownership, and even like predatory lending, that's still a thing today. So I decided, I was like, let me just build this thing out. And it started off as an Instagram page, then it grew and grew into a movement. And some of the people that I know in real life in this cryptocurrency world are some of the people who were following me back in 2019, 2020, when I started the page. So I hope that my impact is more so to educate people and let people know that this space is for everybody. Blockchain doesn't care about where you come from, doesn't care about where you look, what you look like. It doesn't care about that. This technology, the way Satoshi built Bitcoin off of proof of work and the blockchain itself, this is all inclusive. So I want everybody to know it doesn't matter where you come from, and also your background. It doesn't matter. We all are nodes in this. I always tell people, the in-person, I love how everybody who's spoken on a panel talked about the value of in real life conversations. We're building human blockchains right now. I hope that my impact is to be a node for people to have access to information. Back in, I would say, 2019, 2020, I went to the North American Bitcoin Conference. They weren't as inclusive. Folks weren't just giving you game. You know what I mean? They weren't just giving you information. It was more so, we're here first. We have I do this on the side, I do this. But it's like, now that this Web3 thing has become I would say, a big epicenter for people from all backgrounds, and also NFTs has onboarded a lot of people. There's a lot more people giving game. It's a lot more people being honest about, hey, this is how I flip my NFT. I'm going to show you how to do it. Or this is what I learned about this DeFi protocol. Watch out for this. The cryptocurrency industry was not as open back when I started. So I hope to, be a force in this space.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, that's real in terms of being financially excluded historically, and then also when we're thinking about the barriers to entry in terms of education and knowledge. And that's why I was so excited when Link was talking about his brother who was building a school in Dallas to really help onboard people into this space. So I really encourage you all to talk to him when you get a chance during break. And if you can even offer support, because these types of initiatives, they need backing, they need support. So I'm so glad that you all have mentioned that. Lori, you want to just talk a little bit about impact, working with Leagues of Wisdom, with the people in the group, how has that impacted your life? And then, even as you look at these Twitter spaces and conversations, what are you hearing? How are you impacting others?
Well, I kind of want to start off by going back. When we did the 15-day space, it was 15 days, 24/7, and Austin primarily, him and Ty were basically doing that. And I spoke very little. As you can tell, I'm a nervous wreck being up here, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's just one. This is how you grow. Okay? So.
And I gotta tell you all, Austin and Will, it's not all about tissues. We have fun with Leagues of Wisdom too.
So 15-day space. I begged founder. That's my
Amazing.
please go as my speaker. Take over that space, okay? Well, then now they get the genius idea. Let's do it again. Let's just not have any in time. And Lori, you're going to do the Wings of Wisdom, and you're going to do an hour. And I'm like, well, guess what? This is how I grow. And I'm 53 years old, and I'm growing every single day. And there's so many women that just need a voice. And the little tiny bit I did speak in those 15 days, when I got to Arizona, I was shocked with the impact. I spoke this much. So I know that coming from a dental background, if you want to talk teeth, I'll get up with you. Let's talk. You need to know how to floss? Let's go. But when you're talking Web3, it's so out of my comfort. Maybe because of age, maybe because I'm not brilliant mind like this in this space. I mean, this just blows me away. I'm like, how? But I know that I, as a different woman, can make a difference in somebody else's life. That I can give a voice to women my age, younger, older, and I can help them in some way. And I don't have to do it on my own, because in our community, our 20+ women in the Wings of Wisdom, there's so much there. There's so much wisdom and knowledge that we get to just share. So they feel like they have somebody. They're not alone. I don't want anyone to be alone. That's when I get choked up. This is my dream. It's coming to life. Nobody's gonna make it happen.
Go. Let's go.
And I have to tell you, whenever I listen to the Wings of Wisdom, I always hear the story of somebody else that gives me so much strength. You know, when I'm feeling low and I feel defeated, I can't go on. I get to listen to somebody about how they overcame an obstacle. It just really refreshes me and rejuvenates me. So I really appreciate you and thank you for your vision.
Yes.
So Victoria, talk to us about, impact. I know that you started during COVID, and not only have you created opportunities for yourself, you've created opportunities for your sister colleagues. And so can you just talk a little bit about impact for us?
Sure. Well, as far as the impact on my life, it's given me, like, I wake up every morning, I'm so excited to get to work. And I work more hours in a day than I ever have. And I work 7 days a week, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. So it's impacted me really well. As far as the girls go, I think it's given them like a nice focus, and also they feel as though they're kind of on some kind of cutting edge technology that makes them feel, like they're in on the big secret. You know what I mean? They're in on something new and innovative, and I'm onboarding 100 women. It's like herding cats. But the truth be told, the girls that get interested, it's really amazing, because they take it on and they are more and more understanding. We're only scratching the surface. There's so much that can be done, and it can also be a secondary job. Just the whole world of NFT and what it stands for is so much more than just the art and the community, and there's just, it just keeps going. So these women are being impacted because they're learning a whole new thing, and that's unexpected, especially all of us that, get married and have kids and get a little older, and you know what I mean? We don't think that we're gonna, maybe learn something new or do something different than what we thought we were gonna do. So this has been a left turn for me and my
So again, how shocked and impressed are people when they realize, wow, these former Playboy, or maybe once a bunny, always a bunny.
You got it, girl. I don't argue with people anymore.
Yeah, no, once a bunny, always a bunny. So how do they react when they're like, wait a minute, Playboy bunnies doing what?
Well, I think this is a really good opportunity to break the mold of the preconcept, of what people think about what these girls are. They're not just girls that were, you know, in the magazine, nude, and, you know, hung out with you, having a party, and did all that stuff. It is really so much more than that. One of the things that have always instilled in us was, don't just stay here. You're not a model. You're something else. This is just a lily pad. Jump off. You know, this is your launching pad. So he was always eager to get us moving in a direction towards something else. He always wanted us to do something with our platform as a playmate, to do something better. So, I don't know if I answered the question, right? Yeah.
No, that's really cool. That's really cool. Sonia, talk to us about your net.
Well, in terms of impact, when I look around me, right, there are so many people who are struggling for different needs. Right? And in our own project, I feel like one of the good things that has happened is the entire team. So, you know, we all talk about community building, and I say that your community building, it starts with the team that you're working with. So we have a team of 20 plus who are working on this NFT project, a very large team. But the great part is that before this, we have 3D artists, we have developers, we have marketers, and they really do not know much about Web3. And now they can go out and talk about it. But, you know, it's like a butterfly effect, the domino effect, right? You have to start somewhere small. And then you let that trickle forward. And before you know, this one person, you educate one person, and that one person is going to go and educate another person. And the network effect, right? It keeps growing. So to me, it is important that the impact that I have on life, even if it is measured in terms of single units, right? That he has impacted 5 lives, I don't stop there. Because if you sow the seeds, right, then eventually the sapling is going to grow into a tree. And now that tree is going to bear fruits that are going to be consumed by thousands of people. So it is important to me that when we talk about impact, we don't think about the millions of lives that we might impact. We just think about maybe just having one life and start from there. Firstly, as I said earlier, that I have to even look for $300. There were people who came forward and personally instituted that sponsorship. So I got it to people, not necessarily to organizations, but to individuals who didn't expect anything in return, right? But without that, I wouldn't be here. So for them, it was just impacting one life. Today, I am employing 20 more people. You see how that goes. So it's important that when you wake up every day, you don't think about changing the entire world every night, like it's overnight. Right? The only thing that you focus on is how do I impact one life in a really simple way today, right? And then you let that trickle and flow.
I have one more question that I can prepare. We have 14 minutes, and it occurred to me, maybe y'all have some questions. Is there anybody? Okay, so we've got a question. All right, so here's what we're going to do for the questions, because we didn't coordinate in the beginning. I'm going to actually give up my mic for the questions. So I'm going to ask if you can, now don't go crazy. We got an extra mic, so all right, so let me just end on this note. I want to talk about allyship and what others can do to support women in Web3. You know, I started this off talking about the organizers of this conference being very intentional about using this platform to amplify and highlight women. We have Wings of Wisdom. I'm a proud bee. In fact, I designed my outfit around the bee. I'm a proud bee. The bee sponsor Wings of Wisdom, And men always show up for that show to listen in and support. And it was just so touching last night because FOMO had said something about how women already know what's going on. They already know the challenges. And that Wings of Wisdom space gives men the opportunity to have a better understanding and feel the issues. So I would like to just very quickly talk to you all before Lincoln and anybody else has a question. What can men do to be a better ally and create space for women in Web3?
Babysit.
That's a good one. That's real. That's real. He said, yeah, babysit.
I think it's vital. I think it's vital to show up. You don't have to say anything. Just show up. Listen. It's so easy just to, when women get too emotional, to turn it off. I don't want to hear that. We're not going to go there. You don't need to like get all mushy. We don't need to feel anything. Yeah, you really do. We do. You don't have to be at our level. You're different. It's awesome that you're different. I'm so grateful you're different. But just be there. It's okay to maybe feel something. It's okay to find out that you might not have experienced that, but I bet you anything, if you put yourself out there, you know a woman. Every woman knows a woman, but every man knows a woman. A sister, a mom, a friend, a coworker. Just show up. And listen.
That's great advice. That's great advice. Yeah, what's your advice?
Okay, so I think it's very keen and it's very pivotal. Just respect, like respect as human beings, like respect, listening, and learning. I'm gonna give a little tidbit. So one of my favorite books is Blockchain and That's Everything by Stephen Williams. And in the book, it gives a testament to how blockchain and crypto is the new matriarchy. And it's this concept that decentralization is a matriarchal construct, but whereas hierarchies are patriarchal. Now, I'm not saying men of York, y'all are bad or anything like that. I'm talking about civilization. And so, with this being said, I do think there is a lot of space that women take up in this space, and I don't let anybody tell me I can't take up space because there's petabytes of data out there. So, there's no need to tell people to kind of like, make yourself smaller. In my experience in DeFi, specifically, I worked in DeFi insurance. That's why I moved here to Austin, Texas. I had a very important experience, being disrespected by the CEO of the company, having lawyers sending out memorandums to me to scare me out of severance agreements and whatnot. And I had to sit down with myself and kind of meditate and understand that at the end of the day, being at the intersection of being a Black female in this space, I'm going to drive a force regardless of what people have to say and what people try to do to prevent me to be a force. And so it showed me that that experience showed me that I'm more powerful than I thought I was. Being an employee and going to a founder has taught me a lot. So I think it's very pivotal for men in the room to understand when you see something that's going wrong, say something.
See something?
I
Say something.
I was one of few women who worked for that company, and no one stepped up and said, the way he's talking to you is crazy. No one stepped up and said, maybe we shouldn't give her a memorandum in the mail the day before Christmas to scare her out of money that she probably deserves. So, I just want people to understand, we're all people at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you come from, what background, everything I said. So, I don't want to take up too much time. We're all people. We're all people. Beautiful spirit. Sonia?
I want to tell a story, a quick story. This is the year 1920, August 18, and it's in Tennessee. A young 24-year-old senator of the state of Harry T. Burns, is sitting with 96 other folks in the room, and the room is divided. So it's 1920, right? The room is divided. You have 48 people. This is the third time that they're voting in for something. They're voting in for women's right to vote. All white, all male panel of 96 voting on women's right to vote. And this was the third time they were doing it because the first two times it was split at 48-48. 35 states had already agreed to let women vote. If Tennessee did not fall in line, the 7 years of suffering, the 7 years of the movement for the suffragists, it was all going to happen. There was this one guy who was wearing a red rose. The roses were significant. The roses signified their votes. So you had half of the rooms wearing yellow roses that signified yes, red that was death to the whole movement. You have this one guy wearing a red rose, and when his time comes, he says a yes. Underneath that red rose is a letter by his mom, Feb Bird. The long and short of the letter essentially said, hooray to the suffragists. Vote for them and do not doubt them. To all the females in the room, when you have sons, raise them to be the men who would believe in people regardless of their gender, gender identity, race, color, their physical abilities, mental capabilities. Raise sons who will believe in people, who won't doubt. For the men in the room, think about the world you're going to build for your daughters. You have treat the women around you the way you would treat your own daughter.
Beautiful statement. Beautiful statement. We're going to hear from Lee, and then we're going to wrap up.
I don't know that I could add anything to that. I mean, that was pretty thorough. Yeah, I don't think I agree with the women. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Link has a question.
I want to thank everyone for being here and what you all are doing for this space. And I thank you for showing all of the background work that women are doing, because each of us are here for a woman, I think. So, so you all literally founded this movement, if you really think about things in context. I also wanted to, I'm all about having very hard conversations. And one thing I want to speak about is you all, and for Jasmine, and I forget your name. Sylvia. Sonia. I apologize. I'm from New York. I'm originally from New York. And I remember growing up and them saying that, there's this tech gap and all of the people from Southeast Asia are taking our jobs. We didn't even know anything about tech. Like if we're going to be honest, we didn't know how to run this stuff or build this stuff. We didn't have a class where someone taught us. So we just had this anger. And so hearing your story, because I just thought it was obvious. People over there learning this technology and they're getting a job. It's a no-brainer. But the story behind that is something that, I apologize, the story behind that is something that we have took for granted. Your story, PG is rough. PG is, you gotta be a gangster.
I mean, PG, no, you don't have to be.
No, I'm serious. Like again, I mean, I'm just saying, not in general. I'm just, what I'm saying. So yeah, the story is just beautiful. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you for telling your story. That's it.
All right. Thank you.
PG is smooth, by the way. Just to add, PG is smooth. That's PG County. Oh, okay, one more question.
I have a question. Let's do it, 3.
Oh.
1, 2, 3.
Why would you want just to finish? This is not being soft. You were burning more time. All right.
just got a
Sorry.
quick question. This amazing panel so far. I'm sorry for the nonsense.
You won fair and square.
No, I don't think I did, but one question I have is I have 7 sisters, and I have a Texas mom, I have a crypto grandma, I have a Salt Lake mom, I have an Arizona mom, I have people all over the world. But the biggest question I have is how to get more women involved in it. And I've tried to get my sisters involved. Some of them are single mothers at 22 years old, 24 years old. My mom was a single mother from 16 years old up. And how do you get them more involved? Because to them, my sisters are like, I don't understand all this. Say $5 and put in, instead of buying coffee, put it into crypto. What does that do for me? They don't understand all of this. So how to get more women involved in it, I guess is the question.
Thank you, Austin.
I would say meet them where they are. Meet them where they are. You meet the kids with the metaverse because they've already been playing video games from the start. You say your grandma, crypto mom. What I'm saying about that is retirement plans with Bitcoin. So just meet them where they are and find their interest in and kind of integrate blockchain there because I feel like blockchain touches every industry. So if your sisters are interested in like, for example, they're trying to make some extra cash over summer, instead of doing a lemonade stand and accepting US dollars, tell them you have to do crypto and they'll play around with that.
I'm going to build up a little further on that. 8% of the retail spending in the States, actually across the globe, is controlled by females. So if you want to bring females in, and this is no pun intended, right? Then, and to be honest, with more females coming in and using crypto as a currency, so it's no longer just crypto, it's truly currency, right? For transactions and shopping, you get them on familiar home ground. And when we do that, we truly enable a whole financial system where cryptocurrency is being treated as a currency. It's no longer an investment class, no longer an asset, but all the M2 cash that we have, all the other tokens that we have, people start using that. And the moment we do that, we unlock so much capital in the world that is not being run by central bodies, right? That is not being controlled by intermediaries, and it's money, it's currency that you truly own. So it's one of the really great ideas to get people to shop in crypto.
Thank you. Well, I just heard our exit music. So at this point, I'd just like to thank Sonia, Victoria, Lori, and Jasmine. You all are amazing. And thank you all for being such a great audience. We look forward to listening. Thank you, everybody.
Hold on, stay up there. Those are some powerful women of Web3, right? I didn't get them. Come on, we can do better than that. We're going upstairs on the roof to hear us. Thank you all for coming up. Awesome. One more time, one big round of applause. That was good stuff right there. Thank you, other panel. Thank you. So we're going to have a 20-minute roundtable session with Brooke Lacey again. So you want to come up here and get your panel set up? One more time, thanks, ladies. Powerful women of Web3.
Christina. All right. So I do want you guys to get to lunch. So 15, 20 minutes, mostly just for me. No, I'm kidding. I think this is so important to talk about women in tech. I have been speaking on, come on, babe. I have been speaking about women in tech for a really long time. I know I joke about a lot of stuff. I think that's just to get everybody's attention. And these are two of literally the smartest human beings I've ever met. Girl Decks. Madalena and Christina. I say that word, Madalena, right? Yeah. I see it however I want. And I think that the thing is, it was interesting because we were talking last night and we can sit. I was we'll sit together. Being a woman in technology it's so important to talk about this because it's not about women banding together to like break some mold. Like it's about all of us sitting and coding together or sitting and being a part of a group because women bring such a different perspective. So the way that all joking aside, in 1992, I think I was 15, I got my first experience with a computer. It was like this giant, beige box. I think it had Windows 3.1. You guys probably don't even know that. And it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me because I had a very traumatic childhood. And this beautiful machine came in and it was elegant and I loved the solitude that it provided me. And it didn't talk back to me. It did what I told it to do. And it didn't yell at me. It wasn't disappointed in me. And so for us as women, I don't know if the two of you feel this way. I know that I do to my core. The technology was what saved my sanity because as a kid, I saw in code and I felt so different. So when computers came around and I was able to utilize them and take it to the next level, it was like I was home. And women, of course, remember I told you men and women are different. Did everybody catch that earlier? It's because in the technology sphere, we are looking at it in a different way. The code is less clunky. We are thinking about it in a more, like ethereal way, if that's the right phrase. We're thinking about it more of an elegance to it as opposed to just getting the job done. So when we're a part of groups, and of course I've worked with mostly men my whole career, because after that after-school job with that Windows 3.1 computer that I was obsessed with, I went to Northern Illinois University. I took every computer science class I could take. I think I failed assembler code twice just to get through it. But when you are passionate about something, you do it. Yes, this is binary code tattooed to my arm and a motherboard tattooed to my neck. I kind of like technology. Once we got past all of that, I worked on the Y2K bug. There was so much there that filled me up. And so when people think like, oh, it must be so difficult to be a woman in tech, and I'm like, I don't see that. I don't get that. Like I have had the time of my life. I have met some of the most amazing human beings, and mostly men. That's just how it is. It's the majority of them are men. But when I get the opportunity to meet and speak with women developers, women who have minds like this, it's like it's so important because there's not many of us. And as I get older, I'm definitely losing my mind. So I'm not necessarily doing the dev. I'm kind of the lead dev. I'm kind of taking on these projects. I'm actually the head of Web3 for a company called Megaplex. So it's a movie theater company that is tokenizing their ticketing system and their rewards program. And it's awesome because the CEO is like all in on crypto and it's a dream job. So, I get to come in and bring devs with me. And I'm just trying to hire women devs. Sorry guys, but that's my plan. That's my plan because of the way women developers bring, what they bring into that. So I just wanted to have this. Oh, I still have 16 minutes. This is fantastic. I just wanted to kind of ask. I know you're very shy, and I just love you so much. What are you working on? Why do you think that, like your group, and I met your other cohorts. Why do you think women bring like maybe a better, no offense, maybe a better perspective on what you guys are building? Do you ever sit and give like a different perspective, like in your meetings? How does that differ? Or are you guys just all on the same page? No answer is wrong.
Yeah. So while you were speaking, I was thinking about the fact that maybe we should take this discussion to like another perspective. You were saying that women like or prefer to write more elegant code. That's not my stuff. Interesting. Yeah. So I've always had men friends being when you go from one group to another, you are getting another set of skills. I don't know. So I am working on Opus blockchain right now.
Yay, Opus!
Yeah, that's a really interesting path that I'm taking. I cannot say that I'm Web3 developer right now. I'm more like a Web2 to Web3 developer.
0.86.
Yeah.
Can use that.
Yeah, exactly. So my path is, let's say, not so long. I'm a young developer. My first job was developing like a learning platform. Yeah, and now on this job that I have for Office that I've been doing for like 1 year is I'm doing this microservices that are behind all of this technology that we are seeing. Like we believe that Web3 developers have to do all this decentralization and everything that's coming with languages and everything is coming in Web3. But in those nodes, there are a lot of APIs and everything that is from Web2, and that's where I am.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. It's so, you're so well spoken because it's true. Like right now, I feel like we went like this with the technology. Literally, like every other minute, there's something new. I remember at college, again before you were born, there was this like intro to computer science. It was in 1994, and I remember this guy, this professor. We were in like the big, auditorium class because it was like a general ed class, and he was jumping around the stage. We were all like, "Dude, what are you doing?" But he was like freaking out, like, "Just wait, it's just gonna take off." We're like, "Okay," I didn't even have a cell phone at that point. It was like, "Okay, dude, like everything's cool, chill out." And it was true. Like the next like 2 or 3 years, it was the fastest thing I've ever seen. And now I see it again. And things are moving so quickly. Do you feel like, and Christina, this is for you as well. Like, do you think things are just moving at light speed? I will go to you, Christina, who, by the way, were you like 5 when you graduated high school? Somebody told me like you were 5 and then you like you have like a PhD at age 10. Okay, I'm probably exaggerating. She's like, no, that's actually what happened. Give us a little bit about that, but then also, do you feel like things are just skyrocketing so fast that even you can't keep up? Hi, everyone. Press it one more time. One more time.
Can you hear me now?
Yay.
Perfect. So no, I didn't graduate at 5, but I studied software engineering, and I made like a concentration in artificial intelligence and computer vision. And then I started working on the laboratory of my school with some professors. So I did some research projects that I really love. Like I'm all into new technology, new things, investigation, innovation, stuff like that. And then after that, I wanted to do something for myself, something that I like, something that I thought like would have more impact. So I created my own company, actually with a girlfriend. Yeah, so that was pretty cool, and we made like video games, interactives, VR, AR, stuff like that. And then we came to this fintech world, and we started working for other companies, helping them out with their development. And meanwhile, blockchain was growing up. Ethereum blockchain was launched, and we were like impressed by like these smart contracts, what you could do, what you could achieve, and we started like going through all the information of this part. And well, we started working on blockchain projects, and now we're working with the bees. And also we have a company called Airprotocol, which is a decentralized peer-to-peer on and off ramps for crypto to fiat. I know too much information in one sentence, but
What do you love about what you're doing? Like, what is it you're passionate about? What keeps you going in this? Because technology is hard. Like, it doesn't matter how smart we are, and no matter what gender, any of it, technology's hard. My son, I have a 17-year-old, and he, by the way, just graduated early from high school. He used to have a learning disability. Now I'm graduated early from high school as a junior. But math was hard. Like, I'm sitting there, like, high school geometry is like, this is hard. But like, you get through it because you have this, desire to move forward or whatever. But what are you like so excited about? What gets you up in the morning? What made you do software engineering? What was exciting?
For me, it's learning. Like, my dad and mom, they always taught me, like, you go to school for you, not for me. Like, your grades and what you learn, it's for you, not for me. Like, I don't care if you get A's or B's or C's or whatever. Like, it's for you. You're the one learning. And I think that's a great part of that. And also, like, I love changing things. Like, as I say, I love innovation, but not just doing things because you like to do things, but like have an impact. Like Airprotocol, we want to have an impact on people. Like, I come from Mexico, and in Latin America, there's so many people that is unbanked that doesn't have access to financial services, and this includes actually a lot of women. So I think by creating new tools for people, we are empowering them. So that's something that I really love doing.
I love that. And I always try to make the point that, like we talked about, teaching your daughters these things. And of course, I'm raising a man, and, we have to be the example for our children or our nieces and nephews, however that works. But understanding that this is the type of thing, and again, I've been talking about this for years. I used to go to the high schools and junior highs in Idaho and talk to girls about getting into tech. And I always thought, like, this is the way to be able to ensure that you can take care of yourself financially, because this is the industry to be in, and there's money to be made. And what, I think Corey said, like, it's the love of money. I love what money does for my life. I love the fact that I can take care of what I need to take care of. I never had to really worry about anything, because I've been in an industry that pays well. That's just the plain honest truth. And then we can go further than that and be able to help people. And so I think that also is something that women bring into technology and into this industry, is a different perspective. Not necessarily how we code, because that's so interesting that, we all kind of look at it really differently, but there is this nurturing nature. My first company was a computer repair business in Boise, Idaho. And I remember always saying, like, we were successful because when people would come in with their hard drives that they dropped on the floor and shockingly couldn't get to turn back on, or like, spilled wine on their MacBooks, and they would come in and be like devastated that their pictures were gone. And so I wasn't there to explain to them how we were going to pull it apart and take this, and like, we'll get this and we're going to put it here, whatever. It was like a therapy session. And it was something that was a business tool for me that was successful because I leaned into the fact that it was more nurturing. They didn't care about the fact that they did something wrong or that whatever. It's that they lost the pictures. This was before cloud, by the way. This was like in 2009. It was a lot different. That's why the business is no longer. But it was this idea of we're gonna make you feel better about the thing that happened. We're gonna talk to your spirit as opposed to this high level, what we're gonna do, and we've got this program and we put the hard drive in, and you get the idea. There's just a different aspect to it. So when we teach our girls, I used to do these workshops where we come in and I have all these old, remember the platter hard drives? Again, probably before your time. But they used to have these hard drives that had platters in them, and then if you broke them, then you were screwed. So I had all these extra ones, and these girls would come in. It was like playing with Legos. We'd take them apart, we'd pull the stuff out of them. And I remember the moms would, sometimes the dads, would drop them off and say, and this was years ago, and would say like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're doing this. This is so good for our kids. And, you know, it's so over my head. It's just too hard. And I'd be like, you know, they can hear you, right? Like you're speaking to your children this way. If they think it's hard for you, how do they think they're going to do it themselves? And then of course, you know, being able to give the girls that, that space to do it, you know, all together. My son, who has always kind of been my touchstone in all of that, he would get in the car and be like, well, why is it just for girls? Like, we don't care, you know, and because that generation, we have to remember, like, the gap in this generation is so huge, even though I'm not that old. You know, they don't see it the same way as we did as kids. So it became this, we have to be the example, and we have to make sure, even though if maybe it's too hard for you to understand, it's not too hard for your kids to understand. And we need to push that forward, because that's how we create a better world. The technology, none of the stuff that you're trying to do in Web3 is going to happen without foundational pieces of technology that we're building as women. So, yeah, I'm going to put that 3 minutes to go. I'm so proud of you. I know it's hard to get up and have, you know, a conversation in front of people. So I'm proud of you. I think it's really important though. And so thank you for being here. Go be blessed.
All right, so we'll be back at 1:45. Make sure you're back and on time. But before we go, again, there's some good places. There's Gus's Fried Chicken right down there on the corner. I don't know where any salad places are, obviously. Downstairs, there's a couple of restaurants down there. There's plenty of restaurants right here within walking distance. Thank y'all for this morning. We'll see you back here at 1:45.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes the morning session of NFT Connect here in Austin. And right now, as everybody's getting ready to go to lunch, I'll be your co-host for this hour. This is Edie Ed from the DGen Hour, 12 to 1 Central Time. And I'm here to carry the space and the momentum this next hour. So there's no dead time in space. As you know, we just had 2 panels of a very powerful lady speaking. And if you don't know or you haven't heard, they're making some serious noise in this space. So you'd want to support the ladies as they get involved in this tech space and support what they do. We don't have to necessarily know and understand everything that they're involved in, but that doesn't mean we can't support them and just be there for them. So I've enjoyed it. We're having a blast. Last night we had the chill space where companies and projects had 2 to 3 minutes to pitch their idea, their project, their NFT to us, and convince us if we should, you know, get involved, learn more about them, and possibly collaborate. I do this next hour, I do want to talk about some things that I heard that I did find pretty interesting. But before I get into all that, I'm gonna see if we can go interview some people, see what they thought of the event, and, you know, just get their opinion and perspective. Let's see who we can find. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. I'm walking. Oh, all right, there's one. Hold on.
Great. And I love, she was like, actually.
Yeah, we got one of the panelists here. Brooke Lacey. She's a techpreneur, very involved in the tech space here. Let's see who else we can find. There's where'd she go? Anyway.
So good. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm, weren't you like the OG at like Microsoft or something? Come on. Right? It's just me and you right now. That's all.
Hey, hey, how are you?
How are you?
We're on a 24/7 Twitter space. I'm a B. I'm
What's
also.
up? What's up? What's up? They know who I am.
You just wanna introduce yourself real quick and
Sure.
just let them know you were a panelist. You killed it up there. Just give everybody, what do you think of the event, what you're about, and just kind of like where do you see what you're doing, where's it going? What do you?
I love Twitter Spaces, so you don't even have to. Yeah, don't even worry about it. For those of you, and I know it's sometimes hard because you don't see my avatar or whatever in the space, but if you just look up Brooke J. Lacey, I am kind of around. Can you guys hear us? Okay, is everybody like? Can you throw up some hearts? Everybody's good.
Yeah, you're the speaker. They're all listeners.
Okay.
If somebody,
got you.
yeah, somebody wants to say something or ask you questions, they have to request to be a speaker, not invite them.
Cool. I think that what's important is being here in real life. I think this is a way to connect to people. Of course, we're calling it NFT Connect, and that's exactly what is happening here. Is to be able to educate in a different way. What the challenge for me in these situations is to say stuff that's different than I say every day on a Twitter space or every day in a piece of content. So I think that first panel was one of the best that I've been on.
Oh, I loved it.
So good, right?
Yeah, I was at the event, the first one back in Phoenix in February.
Yeah.
But they were good panels. They were good conversations. But this one, there was like comedy. There's
so good.
Info. There's knowledge.
And they went with it because sometimes, that's kind of like how I always am with like the throwing jokes in there and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't know what to do with that. They're just like, okay, these guys just went with it. Some of them know me, Vince knows me and Kim knows me, but I just thought when people feed off each other like that, or at least my input, it was awesome. It was really, really cool.
it flowed naturally, and it just, I felt like y'all could have kept going.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to stop, but we have a schedule.
Yeah, gotta keep the schedule. And I was glad they gave me that little 20 minutes to talk about women devs, because everybody wants to go to lunch, but it was awesome. I love what you guys are doing. I love the bees. I wish I could spend more time, in the community, but there's a lot to do.
No,
sorry.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I understand you only have so much time, so much energy, so much bandwidth.
Yeah.
So far, this is, I'm guessing, your second one you've been to, right?
Yeah.
How do you compare this event versus like all the other NFTs that are like currently out there? What do you think?
The events.
Yeah. All the other.
I will tell you, this is the one, because somebody asked me this. I do go to a lot of conferences. I'm asked to speak at a lot of conferences, and the reason I did this one is because of you guys, because of the way I'm not even like sugarcoating something. Like, truly, the way that I was treated by Vince and Mark and all of the bees was very different. I'm all about human energy. I'm always about like, how are people treating me, and how are they responding to me? And this group of people, beyond anything that I've experienced. There's no clout chasing. It's just honest conversation. It's just like this incredible group of people. And so, I think this one's a lot more intimate. The first one, there was some hiccups. That was a giant room, right? And it was very echoey.
Yeah,
But like, it was great. And I loved the intimacy of it. This is amazing. But I love how involved everybody is with the bees. And so I think the other conferences are a lot more interested in sponsorships, and of course everything has to be, there's got to be some sponsors.
Right.
But the other conferences, and I'm not going to name names, but a lot of times I don't actually go to the conference. I go there for the satellite events. Like in New York, I'm not going to NFT NYC.
Okay.
I'm going there for the conference, or for the satellite events, the parties, because I personally find that more valuable. So if that helps to say that, because this is a conference and I came here for you guys, because I believe in what you're doing. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want to take up much more of your time, but when we did the first one, we kind of had some challenges. but you liked it. You had a good time.
It was amazing.
Like, how was it an easy decision for you to come back to this one?
100%. When Vince called me, I said, absolutely, I'll be there.
All right,
For
that's
sure.
so awesome. We look forward to talking with you again
Thank
here.
you. I'm proud of you guys with this long ass Twitter.
Yeah, it's okay. So, hey, you heard from one of the panelists yourselves why she liked this event, why she came back. We do have a speaker. I mean, somebody requested to speak. Hold on a second. Is that, hold on, let me get to a place where I can hear. Is this Ailey? Yeah. Looks like we're having connecting issues. While we're waiting on her to connect, let's see if we can find somebody else. If you have any questions or you'd like to jump up and request to be a speaker and just give us your opinion on the event so far, feel free to join. I'll add you. Let's see who else we can find.
Hi guys.
Hey, hold on. Let me, Ailey, I heard you. Let me get to a space where I can hear you. As you know, there's some noise. Okay, I can hear you fine. How are you?
I'm fine, guys. How are you?
Doing good. What do you have for us?
I want to say something.
Okay.
Okay. Why do I like NFT, to be honest? Because the main reason, because it's so freaking cute. This is first. Second, it took my attention. Like, I have ADHD, personality disorder,
Okay.
and I have borderline personality disorder, and I also had a sexual abuse, and nothing took my attention this period. I was doing self-harm, and I was like, I had a lot of problems. I've been through a lot of troubles, and bad people were bullying me and stuff like this. But the only thing took my attention and made me go away of all these things is NFT. Since I started doing NFT, it's making me focus. It's making me focus good. So it's fixing the ADHD for me. And second, this is the beautiful news today. I'm flying of happiness because I made 2 inventions and I will submit them tomorrow. I want you all guys pray that they accept it and they like it. My inventions. One of the inventions, one of my invents, is about to make people stop bullying others. This is what the invention's about. So thank you so much. I just
Yeah, you're very welcome.
what?
Yeah, you're very welcome. If you want, you can connect with the Wings of Wisdom. They're a lady-led project that they could possibly help with that. If you will go ahead and want to connect with them on Twitter, that'd be good.
Can you send me the
So
account if you don't mind?
Hold on, let's see here.
But I'm so freaking happy. I don't know why is that. Maybe because I made my inventions, or maybe because of the ADHD. I'm happy.
Well, it could be. I mean, yeah. Well, NFTs are definitely making an impact, and there are a lot of ladies, as you just heard the past 2 hours. It was strictly ladies. They're making a lot of noise in this space. They're launching their own NFT projects. Thanks for speaking. Go ahead and try to look them up. I got somebody else that's jumping up.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's see here. Looks like they're connecting. As they're connecting, I'll try to see if I can find somebody else to interview here. Ben, you jumped up as a speaker. How are you?
Emotional damage.